Senator Padme Amidala of Naboo was firmly opposed to the Military Creation Act, which would allow Supreme Chancellor Palpatine to form a Grand Army of the Republic and instigate the war the disguised Sith Lord wanted. As a result, Padme became the target of an assassination attempt by bounty hunter Zam Wesell, and even though she survives, Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker is assigned to protect her on her journey back to her home planet of Naboo. Their peaceful retreat is firstly interrupted by Anakin's visions of his mother suffering on his home planet of Tatooine, and soon after, his master Obi-Wan Kenobi had discovered the existence of a droid army on Geonosis before his capture. Anakin and Padme go to rescue the Jedi, but quickly join Obi-Wan in being sentenced to death in the Petranaki Arena. With the help of Mace Windu and a strike team, the trio manage to escape and find themselves pursuing Dooku. Unfortunately, the gunship is struck by a cannon blast, and Padme fell with a clone trooper into the sand below. Anakin wanted to rescue her, but his master orders him to continue their pursuit of Dooku, convinced his capture would end the war. Eventually, neither Padme is seriously injured or Dooku captured, and the war proceeds as the Sith had foreseen. But what if Padme died when falling off of the gunship? Would Anakin turn to the dark side or learn to let go? What would happen to Naboo? All your questions are going to be answered. Obi-Wan ordered the clone pilot to pursue the speeder of Dooku, and as they navigate the fire of the Geonosian starfighters, Anakin senses imminent danger, but he cannot react as Padme fell out of the ship. As she began to fall, the senator looked to be descending to the safety of the soft sand, until a separatist speeder ran into her path, sending her flying into some rocky terrain. Obi-Wan cannot stop Anakin from his personal feelings taking over his judgment, as he leapt on to chasing Republic gunships. Finding Padme on the floor, Anakin roared as he felt no life from her, as the Jedi became fueled by the dark side, just as he had been on Tatooine. Yoda on a passing gunship felt the darkness and ordered him to stop, but it was too late as Anakin ignited his lightsaber and began a rampage on any droid he could see. Further ahead of the enraged Anakin, his master had caught up to Dooku and felt the former Jedi Master's dark side mastery around his secret hangar. Obi-Wan still bravely ignited his blade and blocked Dooku's lightning attack, then engaged in lightsaber combat. Obi-Wan was no match for Dooku's form too, and he fell to the floor, watching helplessly as Dooku sauntered towards his solar sailor. But suddenly, Dooku's ship fell off the slanting cliff face, and the Sith apprentice was pushed back into one of the pillars. Obi-Wan looked up through his pain, and his eyes widened at the sight of Anakin. His Padawan was possessed with hate, and Obi-Wan knew that Padme had perished from her fall. Again Anakin was reckless, surging at Dooku before Obi-Wan could warn him, and he struck by a lightning attack. Anakin, however, embraced the pain that the lightning caused, lifting several wall mountings away from their positions and pushing them into Dooku, who sliced them with his blade. Then he locked blades with the Jedi, and Dooku disarmed his opponent. Anakin persisted, lunging at Dooku, and the Sith was almost impressed, but still knocked him into the wall, and his opponent was finally unconscious. A separatist fighter arrived to take Dooku away, and he decided to also carry Anakin, as it would strike the first major hit into the side of the Republic. Leaving the hangar, Obi-Wan had recovered from the damage inflicted during the battle to report to the clones and Yoda of Dooku and Anakin's escape. The Grand Master instructs the new army to pursue the Sith, but more out of sympathy for Obi-Wan losing his Padawan, as he knew Dooku was too clever for them. The Jedi and clone troopers returned to Coruscant, aware that a new war had begun, and inside Mace Windu's quarters, Obi-Wan and Yoda discussed Dooku's claim that a Sith Lord controlled the Senate, before working out a plan to recover Anakin. The clones were gathering intelligence on the scale of the Separatist army, and they figured out that Dooku's army would likely be near his allies. The Jedi divide their resources to scope out territories of known allies, and discover a fleet above the planet of Cato Nemoidia. The determined Obi-Wan heads the clone squadron, and is supported by General Mace Windu, who has taken charge of one of the first produced Venice-class Star Destroyers. The Jedi find the fleet as their intelligence had reported, and Obi-Wan swoops vertically to the massive dreadnought firing at him. The Jedi Master suddenly found himself and his squadron suspended in the air in a purple bubble, before fading into darkness. That is it for part 1 of What If Padme Died Falling Out of the Gunship in Attack of the Clones. If you'd like to see a part 2 soon, please like this video, turn on your notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel for more tips, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.